Hello, everyone. This is Michael Paoliso. Just letting you know that we've just opened the meeting and people are signing in, so it'll take a minute or two before we start the meeting. We're now up to 90 participants. We have 217 registered. So for those of you that are logging in, we're using the webinar format. We'll be using question and answers. You won't see yourself on the screen, but we should be able to hear you. And oh, sorry, but we'll see your questions in the question and answer, and then we'll respond for that. And I'll discuss the format shortly. Up to about 140. I'll wait another minute or two before we get going. Okay, we're at 150 participants or so, so why don't we begin? Others will be joining us. Hello, my name is Michael Paoliso. I'm the president-elect of the Society for Applied Anthropology. I'm a white male, brown hair, black glasses. I'm dressed in a white-blue tattersall shirt. I'm sitting in my home study in front of a shelf of books. I go by the pronouns of he and him. I wanted to welcome you to our orientation webinar for the annual meeting. We've had 217 people register for it. We're up to 155. I want to begin by giving you just a very brief overview of the annual meeting as it's coming together, and then I'll introduce our team and say a little bit more about the format. We're poised to have a very good meeting. for our 2021 Norfolk meeting. We have a very good program, a very robust program. Currently, there's 1,052 meeting registrants, close to 600 papers, and around 200 sessions, both live streamed and pre-recorded. We have 6 full days of meetings, lectures, award ceremonies, plenaries, networking, and just before the meeting starts, the previous week, we'll have 2 days of workshops. You'll meet the meeting working group who've been working on this annual meeting, along with the program committee that's led by Mark Edberg. We've been working on it since April, May, working out all the online issues and challenges. And we feel we have a good plan. We feel we have a good meeting, and we're very committed to keep working hard so that it's a successful meeting for all our members. And today you're going to hear about some of the training and support that we'll be offering over the next month and a half. So I'm going to stop there. I can answer questions later, but I want to introduce some of the meeting working group team who will be involved in helping to answer the questions. So I'm going to start with Melissa Cope.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Cope. I've worked with SFAA since 2003, and I'm the annual meeting program administrator.
Trish Colvin. You're on mute.
Hi, I'm Trish Colvin. I'm the office manager for the society.
All right. Janelle Marshall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janelle Marshall. I am responsible for getting moderators for the live sessions, along with working with Kira and Rebecca Eli.
Speaking of Kira, Kira Ballin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kira. I am a recent graduate from the master's program at Purdue and currently making my way into the world of practice. I've been lucky to work with the meeting working group, specifically focusing on the Whova platform and integrating our regular meeting into the online format. So I'll be showing you a little bit of that today and happy to answer any questions.
Rebecca Eli.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Eli Long. I'm a PhD student at Purdue University, and I'm part of the meeting working group, specifically focusing on some of our online programming and getting these trainings together for the shift to the virtual meeting.
Jeremy Trombley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeremy Trombley. I'm currently a postdoc at the University of Oregon. I've been working on the meeting group, and lately I've been focusing mainly on the social media aspects and getting the word out and building engagement through social media.
Okay, great. So I see in the question and answer already some questions about the format for today. So a couple observations, and colleagues add in if I've missed something. We're recording this. There's the option of live transcription down on your right. We're using Otter AI. You can get captions or you can see the full transcript. We have disabled, we're using question and answers, and so the webinar format, so you won't see pictures of yourself and you won't be able to ask vocally ask questions. We're asking you to put your questions into the Q&A, and then after a few short presentations, we'll go through the questions and answers. Kira, Rebecca, Eli, Jeremy, did I miss something else that we should tell them about format? Okay, all right, so I'm now gonna pass it over to Rebecca Eli, who will begin telling you about our sessions and their formats.
Great, so thanks, Michael. As a visual description, I'm a white person with short brown hair, dark rimmed glasses. Today I'm wearing a gray shirt and a blue and a purple and gray striped scarf, and I'm sitting in front of a white wall with a couple of pen and ink abstract spiral-ish drawings. So a few housekeeping things. you're welcome to drop questions in the Q&A as we go along. We're also going to be providing a lot of information today. So if we don't answer your question right away, it's either because we know we're going to answer it as we go through the content, or it means that it's something we need a little more time to address, and we're going to get to it at the Q&A at the end. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our training plan and give an overview of the different session types. And then Kira is going to walk you through Whova, which is the conference platform we'll be using, and she'll be able to show you a little bit about what you can expect when you log into that. So I'm going to share my screen here. And you should be seeing a table with the different dates of our trainings. So you'll notice that there's pre-recorded content coming up at the beginning of February. So this is going to be a training for people who are presenting pre-recorded videos, including posters. And the reason we're prioritizing this training right now is because we've got to have that content a little bit ahead of time. We're asking for that to be submitted by February 28th so that we have time to get it uploaded into the system. And then so that's why that training is early, because we know it's a shift in kind of the timeline and a little different than what you'd notice with a face-to-face on-site conference. And following that, towards the end of February, beginning of March, we'll be doing a training for people who are presenting in the live stream format. And following that, we're doing a training specifically for moderators. So that's not something everyone here is going to need to worry about. And then you'll see that after that, we haven't mapped out the exact dates yet, but we are planning to do a training to get people situated in Whova. What will happen is you'll get an email with a link to log in and create your profile. And what we're hoping to be able to offer are sessions where you can hop on a Zoom call with me or Kira or another member of our meeting working group, and we can walk you through how to upload a profile picture, how to fill in your profile, how you navigate around a little more to make sure you're confident going into the meeting. So what you can expect at kind of these two big trainings. For the pre-recorded training, we're going to offer some suggestions on some different software you can use to pre-record your presentation. So right now we're recommending PowerPoint or Zoom. We'll be able to give you, this says lightning, that's wrong, I meant lighting, obviously. Just some general tips on how to kind of stage your video. And then we'll be able to tell you a little more then about the process for submitting and getting that content to us. And then in our live stream, oh, and let me say one more thing about the pre-recorded training is that is also open to people who are submitting posters. So if you're doing a poster session, and Kira will show you what that platform is going to look like, but you'll be able to upload an image of your poster. And then you can also submit a short video to go along with that. And so for the live stream training, we'll be covering accessibility. Nell, the AAA accessibility coordinator, is working with us to put together some content and help us plan that. We'll be giving you some tips for presenting in Zoom, because all of these live stream sessions are going to be, at least the panelists will be in this Zoom webinar format like we're using today. And so we'll be giving you some tips on how to share your screen, how to make sure that goes smoothly, and then how to move back and forth between Zoom and Whova, which is what presenters will need to be doing. So each of these trainings, they're being offered twice. It's typically a Thursday evening and a Monday afternoon if you're on the East Coast like I am. And it's going to be pretty much the same content in each session. So you don't really need to come to both unless you have a burning question that's popped up in between the first session and the second session. And So yes, so kind of we'll be making sure that we have these training options and trying to get everyone set up in Whova. And again, these are the dates, and you will be getting this all in your emails. You'll be seeing this on social media. If it's not on the website already, I think it's on the website already, but no promises. If it's not, it will be soon. So you do not have to jot these down right now. You'll definitely be getting more information and how to register. And at least for these first several, they'll all be in this Zoom webinar format, kind of just like today, where there'll be some panelists and you can submit your questions to us and we can try to answer them live.
Rebecca,
So-
Eli, it is on the website on the annual meeting page.
Great, thanks, Trish.
You're welcome.
So yeah, it is on the website, so you can go there if you want to get this information. And before I pass it over to Kira, I want to say a little bit about how you'll be able to access the content throughout the annual meeting, because we're trying to be upfront about how we're planning to handle your conference materials, and your presentation will be stored in Whova for 90 days, after which point all access to the conference site will be cut off. For that 90-day window, you can log back in. If you missed a presentation, you can go see that, you can rewatch it, but it's all going to be stored securely, password protected in Whova. And after that 90 days ends, we're going to be removing it from all SFAA storage. So we're not keeping a copy, and you're going to maintain copyright and ownership of your presentation. And Whova is set so that it won't allow members to download your presentation. So that should help protect your copyright and your privacy there. So hopefully this is going to be a useful series of trainings that can help you get prepared. And Kira, I'm going to go ahead and let you walk people on this call through Whova.
Great, thanks, Rebecca, Eli. So hi, everyone again. My name is Kira. As a visual description, I am a young white woman with blonde hair. I'm wearing a white blouse with some black stripes, and behind me, I have some kitchen cabinets and a kitchen counter. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Rebecca, Eli, but all of these presentations will also be recorded and uploaded to the website. So if you are unable to make either of the dates for each training session, you can still access it on the website. Just wanted to repeat that. So today I'm going to walk through a session slot on our event schedule and show you what each of the presentation types is going to look like in Whova. So I'll walk you through a poster presentation, a pre-recorded presentation, as well as a live stream presentation. I'm not going to do a full walkthrough of the Whova platform. If you were unable to attend the town halls that we conducted back in 2020, I would check out the website. We have some recorded material, the town halls that we conducted, where I gave a little bit more in-depth reason for why we selected Whova, some of the features that are available. As we approach the meeting, I will also be giving detailed trainings for people to get familiar with the software. So today I'm really just going to focus on a few areas, but I wanted to point out that there is some content available and more content will be coming to get everyone familiar with the software. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen and walk you through the platform. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think the easiest way to show you the platform is to walk through the Monday 10 to 11:45 a.m. slot, show you exactly what each of those sessions is going to look like in Whova. So Whova is the online platform that we've decided to use for the meeting in March. It facilitates live stream content, pre-recorded content, as well as documents, supplementary materials. There's a lot of networking opportunity and communication that can happen between attendees and presenters. So the software, everyone will be getting access to it approximately 2 to 3 weeks before the meeting, at which point we'll have some onboarding training to make sure you know how to set up your profile and engage with the different areas within the software. As a brief overview, this is a sample of what the homepage will look like. We'll have some preliminary information, welcome to the meeting. We'll also have, excuse me, we'll also have day of points of contact for both Whova issues, Zoom issues, any other issues that might arise. So there will be active points of contact for you to communicate with in case anything happens. The second area here is the agenda area, and this is going to be the area that most of us will spend our time in. This is where you can see all of the sessions. They are going to mirror the program that's already on the website. So I'm going to do a little bit of back and forth to show you what that looks like. But real quick here, you can see the full agenda is accessible under this tab here on the left. You're able to toggle through the different days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so forth. You're also able to toggle through the different times. So as I mentioned, we're going to walk through the 10 a.m. slot. So we'll be able to see all of the sessions that are at the 10 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. slot. There's also a search bar where you can search sessions by their name, the location, which in our case will be the session ID, as well as the speaker names. It's a quick way to find sessions without having to scroll through the different days and times. The final option here is to filter by tracks. So all of our TIGs, topical interest groups, and our co-sponsors will have a specific label that you can search for sessions under their group or under their co-sponsor. So to walk us through the session, I'm going to start with posters. So all of our posters are going to be listed at the 10 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. slot, and they are going to look something like this first slot right here. Each poster is going to have their own session slot that will allow attendees to communicate with the poster presenters one-on-one. So to look at that session, you can simply click View Session. And when you click View Session, you'll see there's really no content on the actual Whova website. There's no video, there's no poster listed. The reason for that was storage capacity within Whova. In order to get all of our pre-recorded content uploaded, we decided to house the posters on a separate Adobe Portfolio website. So when you click into each poster presenter's session, you'll have a dedicated link that takes you exactly to their poster. To show you what that website looks like, I'm going to show you the portfolio that we've put together so far. So this is a separate website that is going to house the student posters, the non-student posters, and the tourism posters. They're going to look something like this. So there's going to be multiple squares on a screen. And as you scroll over, you'll be able to see what the poster looks like, the poster presenter's name, and the title of the presentation. When you click into that poster presenter's name, you'll be able to see the full content. So here we have a 3 to 5 minute poster presentation video. Again, we'll see the poster's presenter's name and the title of their presentation, as well as the actual poster down below. For this example, it's my defense announcement, but you get the idea. So once attendees are on the website, they'll actually be able to toggle through different posters. And then back in Whova, again, each poster presenter is going to have their own session. So attendees can actually engage with that presenter one-on-one, ask any questions, make any comments that they have on that poster. All right, so back to the agenda. I also wanted to touch on the ability to create your own agenda. So you'll see here, if I like sessions and I want to add them to my agenda, I actually have the ability to add these to a Google Calendar as well as an Outlook calendar. If I don't use those calendars, basically the session will show up here under my agenda. So this will be a really great way to organize your sessions, keep them in one area, make it a little easier to sort through the content that you're interested in. Back to the full session, I want to show you what the pre-recorded presentations are going to look like. So I'm going to toggle back here to the program, scroll down through the posters, and you'll see here on the program, which is available on the website, all of the pre-recorded presentations are denoted by the parentheses pre-recorded / on demand. So you'll see here at the Monday 10 to 11:45 slot, we have a session entitled Videos, which is pre-recorded. I'm going to skip past the live sessions for now, and you'll see here I have 3 more sessions that are pre-recorded. Intersectional Approaches to Disability, When Different Worlds Meet, and Reaching Target Populations in Health Education. So for that 10 to 11:45 slot, we have 4 pre-recorded presentations. When you come back into Whova, you'll be able to see the pre-recorded presentations underneath the session title and the session time. So here you'll see pre-recorded presentation. For the live streams, you'll see that it's denoted as a live stream. Down at the bottom again, we'll see those final 3 pre-recorded sessions. And you'll note here for the SDS session and the risk and disaster session, we have a little track on there to identify which co-sponsor or TIG it's associated with. So clicking into the pre-recorded session, you'll see here that the pre-recorded presentation is already loaded into Whova. And so from here, members can view the video, engage with any question and answer or chat on the right. Now, pre-recorded presentations, even though they're given a slot of 10 to 11:45, they can actually be accessed at any point. So as soon as we make the meeting open, which will happen about 2 or 3 weeks before the meeting starts, members can come in and start engaging with these pre-recorded presentations. Similarly, even though this is only on a Monday slot, if someone wants to check it out on Wednesday, Friday, or a week after the meeting, they'll be able to come in and watch that presentation at that time. A great feature within Whova is the question and answer and chat area. Presenters will have the ability to turn on email notifications for this area. So once people ask questions or engage in the chat, presenters will get a notification letting them know that someone is interacting in their session, and then they can bring their attention back to their area instead of having to watch it like a hawk for the duration of the presentation or the duration of the event. Down below, within the session, people can also access speaker profiles. So I'm able to see who's speaking at the presentation, as well as look at their profile. On profiles, members will be able to indicate their role, their affiliation, which presentations they're speaking at, as well as a short bio. Down below, we also have the ability to attach handouts. So handouts can include transcripts for pre-recorded presentations, a copy of slides, additional materials that you would like attendees to have access to. One quick note, Whova does not allow for the download of the pre-recorded materials. There's no way for members to actually download these presentations. However, with the materials that are attached, the handouts, the transcripts, what have you, they are downloadable. So we recommend placing a watermark or a copyright notice on those materials if you do choose to provide them. And we'll be giving some more instruction on how to submit these pre-recorded materials in our pre-recorded presentation training. So that's all for the pre-recorded presentations. I'm going to head back to the agenda and we'll review the live stream presentations. So as you'll see, the live stream presentations are associated with channels. We'll have 5 channels running at any one time. So we have a 10 a.m. slot, a 12, 2, 4, and 6 p.m. At each of those times, we have 5 live stream sessions. So for a day, we have 25 live stream sessions. And in total, we have a little over 130 live stream sessions. So quite a lot of live content. We felt it was really important to incorporate this, especially as we're entering here a second year of having events from home and missing out on that live content. This is sort of a way that we can incorporate that. So as you'll see on the program, the live stream content is associated with the channels again. So we have channel 1, live simulcast, channel 2, live simulcast, so on and so forth. Again, on the program, in addition to the channel, which notifies you that it's a live stream, you can also see below that it's a live stream, which means at 10 a.m., the live stream is going to start. We're going to be recording the live stream presentations and uploading them to Whova after. But if you're interested in engaging in the live stream, you want to be there when the actual event starts, not like pre-recorded presentations where you can view them at any time. So clicking into a session, I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. So you'll see here, because the session hasn't started yet, there's no Zoom window that's appearing. However, if the Zoom session were to already have started, this blue button here would show a proceed button. And when you select proceed, it would essentially open up that Zoom window right in Whova. Let's see, the notice should show up. So right here where this white notice is, you would actually be viewing the Zoom meeting or the Zoom webinar that's taking place. You wouldn't have to open Zoom separately. You don't have to have a Zoom account or be logged in any way. Essentially, Whova facilitates that Zoom stream so you can see it right in your Whova window. At the same time on the right, you can engage in the question and answer and chat that's ongoing. And if presenters wish to use polls, they can actually use polls within their Whova session. Down below, we have the same information as pre-recorded. So we have speaker information. You'll be able to see who is speaking at the session, as well as handouts if there's any outlines or transcripts that presenters would like to share with you. So a note about the live stream presentations. A majority of the presentations will be Zoom webinars. The reason we chose to go with webinars we had two reasons. The first was tech. It's easier to record and have fewer tech issues when only the presenters and the panelists have audio and video enabled. The second was security. As we've all seen over the last year, Zoom bombing can happen and inappropriate content can be sort of put into meetings. And so in order to reduce that, we chose to use Zoom webinars, which does allow for less back and forth between attendees and presenters. So in order to overcome that issue, we have also provided a Zoom meetup area where members can engage in live discussion back and forth with one another. So as you'll see on the program, each of the live channels has a meetup directly preceding or directly following their meeting. So after the 10 to 11:45 webinar presentation, members can access their meetup for about 45 minutes for live discussion. I'm going to show you real quick how to access that area. So the community meetups are going to be in the community area. This is an area where members can come and network, talk with one another, both through asynchronous chat. Oops, sorry. I clicked something here, both through asynchronous chat and through live meetups. So you'll see here this window that's popping up. If you begin a live presentation or a pre-recorded presentation and you want to navigate to other areas within Whova, that little presentation window will actually follow you. So you can sort of multitask as you're engaging in a presentation. I'm going to X out of it for now. So again, to the channel meetups. If your session is in channel 1 on Monday from 10 to 11:45, at 11:45, you'll be able to come into the channel 1 meetup. And this is going to be very similar to a Zoom room. The reason we've chosen to go with the Whova meetups is, again, for additional security. There's less of a risk of anybody getting that Zoom link or that Whova meeting link. So you'll see here an example of what it looks like. Members will be able to join as they're in this session and others are coming in. It's going to be a very, very similar to a Zoom meeting where there's live discussion back and forth. You can discuss the material that was presented, network with one another, ask your questions live, things like that. I'm going to X out of that right now. So back in this community area, you'll see each of the live sessions has a channel. So channels 1 through 5 have a dedicated meetup that can use this area after their sessions finish. These meetups are flexible. So if presentations end a little bit early, members can actually access these meetups 15 or 20 minutes early. Same thing goes if the meeting's running a little bit late, the channel meetups can run a little bit late as well. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of accessing the live discussion. The one drawback is that there is a 30-person limit in the channel meetups. So once the presenters are in, up to 30 people can attend and discuss. So that is a slight drawback. However, in these Zoom webinars, we will have enabled question and answer, very similar to how we're running this meeting. And the moderators and the session chairs will be trained to incorporate some of that back and forth between attendees within the Zoom webinar. So presenters will have a little bit of customization of how they want their presentations to run. Now, for the open discussions and the roundtables, as well as for the workshops, we're going to run those as Zoom meetings. So those will have a little bit more back and forth between presenters and attendees, some of that live discussion, which is, it's better to have those types of presentations run that way. In those instances, if the live meetings are placed in a channel, they will still have access to a channel meetup. However, they won't need it as much as the Zoom webinars will. Now, if that's a little confusing, we are going to review it more in the live stream presentation training, and we're going to offer some workshop training and roundtable training as well. So we want to make sure you guys feel very supported with the format and understand fully the integrations between Whova and Zoom, so you can really make the presentation your own and run it as you see fit. So another thing real quick before I finish is within this channel meetup area, these are really reserved for the live stream presentations. However, if you have a pre-recorded presentation or a poster presentation and you say, you know what, I would love to have a little bit of live discussion, you can actually suggest your own meetup. This is going to be a virtual meetup where people can come and join your own Zoom room. So you would need to connect your own Zoom account. You can select a date and time of your choice. And as soon as you create that meetup, it's going to be listed here under the meetup area. And so you can advertise that live discussion within your session. Within that session chat, you can say, hey guys, we're going to have a discussion at such and such a time. Whova also allows us to create announcements. So if you want to work with our team, we can create announcements to sort of let attendees know when that discussion is going to take place and they can come and join it. It's also a great area to host a happy hour or a reception. So if you'd like to catch up with some old colleagues or network, it's also an area where you can do that. So the Suggest to Meet is available both to attendees and presenters. The one thing to note is if you are using your own Zoom account, we won't be providing moderation for those meetups. We will be providing moderators for the session, the live session content, as well as the channel meetups. So sort of just enter at your own risk if you want to suggest your own virtual meetup. Very similarly, in the asynchronous chat, this is where people can create topics or social groups. So if someone wants to catch up with old colleagues, they can create an area to do that. There can also be topical discussions. You know, if the business TIG would like to have a discussion, they can create that and people can join and engage in that conversation. The last area I wanted to mention was the attendee area. So the attendee area is where people will be able to network one-on-one and send messages personally, view the profiles of other members. When you create your account, you'll actually have the option to opt in or opt out of this area. So if you want to network, you can create a profile. I'll show you briefly what that profile looks like. So here we'll see what I'm speaking at, a bio once I've added one, as well as my affiliation and role. And so if I want to message myself, I can sort of click send message here and start a conversation. So again, if you want to be in this area, you can, but you also have the ability to not be visible in this area. So that is a very brief look at Houva and what these sessions are going to look like. Again, as we get closer to the meeting, we're going to be providing some specific training for setting up your account. We'll also be having one-on-one hours. So for presenters, if you have questions about creating your presentation or uploading it or getting prepared for the live stream content, we'll be able to answer some of your questions one-on-one. We're here to make sure that you guys feel comfortable with the plan that we've put together, make sure that you have an enjoyable meeting experience and can really create your sessions as you'd like to. So I think that's enough for me. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Kira. I just also want to mention that during the meeting, we'll have some technical support available. So if somebody has a technical problem, they can call a hotline and get some assistance directly. Like if I can't log into Houva or my session isn't running, and also that each live stream session and each Houva meetup will have a moderator there to handle technical and security issues. So we're in the process of recruiting something like 60 to 70 moderators from our TIGs and co-sponsors.
And sorry to cut in, Michael, I forgot to mention Houva is a free software to attendees and presenters. So what's going to happen is about 2 or 3 weeks prior to the meeting, we're going to go ahead and send out links from Houva for both presenters and attendees to set up their accounts. You will not be charged for anything. It's free to access. And again, we'll have some of that onboarding for people who need more time to get familiar with the software.
Okay, so should we proceed to questions and answers? Okay, Janelle is going to be our moderator for this, and she'll read the question and then one of us will answer, or she'll ask one of us to answer.
Okay. So the first question is, we would like to have a highly interactive session, preferably with simultaneous inputs with Zoom that would be practical by assigning co-host privileges to all who attend. We do this with our grad programs with a conventional talk at or one person at a time Zoom arrangement. This could affect the spontaneity of our session. Will there be options to allow this kind of audience participation?
That's a great question. So if it is an open table, or excuse me, a round table or an open discussion, the Zoom meeting will allow for that kind of interactive back and forth. If the presentation is set up as a webinar, we can review some of the options for opening up that discussion. Presenters will have a little bit of customization with how they engage the question and answer and chat areas. If it's something that needs to be handled on a case-by-case basis, you can also email our team, and we can work with you to create the session that would work best for you.
Okay. The next question is, does it make sense to go to those training sessions if one is already familiar with Zoom sharing, screen sharing, etc.?
Mhm. But yeah, this is a great question. I think it will be useful to attend the trainings, even if you're familiar with Zoom software. We're going to touch on specific things to the integrations between Zoom and Whova, especially how moderators will help facilitate the technology as well as some of the back and forth with attendees. So I think it would be wise to attend or at least view the recording, so you have a full understanding of how the presentation is going to run, and all of sort of the customizations that you can make.
Yeah, and I'll just add real quick that if you're not a video watching, webinar attending type of person, we'll also be putting together, we're working on this currently, some guides where you can read through and get a lot of the same information in that format.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is, will we be able to download our own presentation if we do it live?
I'll take that one. Our original idea is that we're going to save recordings onto Whova for 90 days, and then that would be that. We've had a number of members ask about whether they'd be able to download their session later for teaching or purposes. We think it may be possible depending on the session format. We have some thoughts about pre-recorded may be easier to do that, and a webinar might be a little more difficult if it's a round table through Zoom meeting. So we have a meeting this Thursday where we are specifically talking about how we can tweak that original idea so that members will be able to, some members, most members, to the extent possible, can download their sessions. We have to protect the privacy of participants, but we also recognize that members want to use their materials. Of course, the materials that you prepared are all yours to use. So we will be getting back to everyone on some of the fine details of that. Anyone want to add anything, please do.
Okay. There are a similar question, and you covered this, I think, very well. It's the same. It's just asking if you're able to download a copy of your own presentation. And so again, we're working on that, figuring out how how we'll be able to do that. Can a session be a mix of pre-recorded and live presentations?
So if you have a live session, we don't recommend adding pre-recorded content as you're live streaming. So in terms of like watching a video while you're doing your live stream presentation, tech capacity doesn't really allow a lot of room for that. However, Zoom within a session does allow both live stream and pre-recorded content. So if you have a live stream presentation, but you'd like to add like a video or audio, we can add that into that session area. We just don't recommend doing them at the same time. If that makes sense, I can clarify a little bit as well.
Okay. Next question is, can there be a simultaneous live stream in Zoom Meetup, even if not on a channel per se?
I'm not sure if I understand the question exactly, so feel free to clarify in the question and answer. the only live streams we have are given dedicated channels. And so the way it runs is there's a live stream presentation for an hour and 5 minutes. Immediately following, there's 45 minutes for the Whova meetup. And so again, for most of them, they're going to be a webinar format for the hour and 5 minutes. It's going to run very similar to what we're doing now. So there's going to be not as much back and forth between attendees and presenters. And then for the 45 minutes after, we have a Whova meetup, which is for that live discussion. And so I'm not sure if I answered that question. Feel free to clarify in the Q&A. But if you have a live session, you will have a Zoom meetup after. If you have a pre-recorded presentation, you can create your own live session using your Zoom account.
And that is 105 minutes, not an hour and 5 minutes, sorry. So live sessions are 105 minutes.
Thanks, sorry about that.
Okay, the next question is, would it be possible for you to make the meetup to cover the whole session time in case the session ends early? Thus, we wouldn't have to wait to visit.
So we can't have them run the entire session time because the meetings are, each session time is back to back. So we have the 10 a.m. session to 11:45, and then the next session starts at 12. So the meetups overlap a little bit with sessions. However, you have about 15-20 minutes of leeway either way. So moderators will be in the meetups about 20 minutes before the session is scheduled to start, and then they'll be there about 15-20 minutes in case discussion goes long. So it's not perfect, but it does give you a little bit of flexibility if your meeting runs early or long.
Okay, the next one is, where are messages received if sent from attendees' profiles?
Yes, so if I'm sending a message one-on-one, I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick. They're going to show up in a messages tab. So right here, if I were to send a message and I'm waiting for a response, if I click into messages, this is where one-on-one communication can happen. So the community area, again, is for these larger asynchronous chat discussions, the topical discussions, as well as the live virtual meetups. And the messages are going to be for that one-on-one communication if you're networking or communicating with a colleague about something.
The next one is, why does the training about accessibility is not included in the training for pre-recorded sessions?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, the reason why I highlighted accessibility specifically for the live stream sessions is because we are working with Nell, who's the meeting accessibility coordinator for the AAA. And so we're spotlighting accessibility sort of topically in that list because it was a lot for me to ask, hey, will you come do accessibility work for all of our sessions? So because we could really prioritize her time and what we were asking her to help with, that's why the accessibility is grouped with the live stream sessions, but we will also be including accessibility information for pre-recorded presentations in that live training, and you'll also be seeing information in any sort of guides we publish as well that will highlight some of the steps conference attendees can do to make the conference accessible for everyone.
Okay. The next question is, for pre-recorded sessions, do we have to record one video for the whole panel or one video for each talk, or can it be a mix?
Yes, it can be a mix. We're going to review some of our recommendations for pre-recorded presentations. One option is to do a Zoom meeting with all of the people in your session, if you can make that work, and basically running it as a Zoom meeting. So recording, sharing your screen for your presentation materials, and then going through each presenter. The other option is to record separately, and we'll review some of the technologies for that, in which case you'll upload the materials to a Dropbox, more instructions instructions to follow, and we will basically combine the videos and upload them for your session. So we're gonna review that a little bit more in the pre-recorded presenter training, but you have a few different options to fit your needs.
Okay. Can you say a bit more about the relationship between live session and meetup? Both what happens, how long each one runs?
Yes, so the live stream sessions are going to run for 105 minutes, and the meetup runs for about 45 minutes. Again, you have a little bit of wiggle room. No, I think that answers that.
Okay. Does the 30-person limit require others to pre-register, or the first 30 people to log on?
It's going to be the first 30 people to log on. So the moderator will have sort of lobby responsibilities. They'll let the presenters into that meetup first, and then they'll let attendees in up to 30 people. So if you have 5 presenters and 1 moderator, about 24 attendees can join that meetup. So yeah.
Do the session chairs act as moderators?
This is a great question. So our moderators for the live stream webinars are really there just for tech support and to make sure the recording of the session goes well. The session chair will act as they normally do in terms of monitoring the time, navigating between the different presenters, essentially running the session. Moderators are there just to make sure people understand where the captionings can be accessed, making sure the recording runs smoothly, there's no tech issues. And then they'll also direct both presenters and attendees how to access that live meetup after their session. So they're there for sort of on the spot questions as well.
Can you clarify if we want to include video plus live?
Yes. So if you have a live stream presentation, you can also include some video or audio that is pre-recorded. It won't integrate with the live stream presentation, so it would be sitting separately from that live content. And I can review that more in the live stream presentation training as well.
We have a scheduled meetup that is on the program for the Kearney Memorial Lecture. Where will our audience find where to get on the meetup? Will there be a monitor?
Great question. Yes. So the Kearney lecture is actually given a channel 1. So even though that one's a pre-recorded presentation, you'll still have access to the channel 1 meetup following that session slot time. So on the program, the meetup is listed for 5:45 to 6:30. So essentially at about 5:20, members could start entering that meetup for live discussion on the Kearney Memorial Lecture. And I can work one-on-one with you as well to go through the details of that.
If we're doing an individual paper presentation, do we record ourselves reading the paper, or how does that work? And are they also due at the end of February?
Yes. So any of the pre-recorded presentations will be, we're going to offer a few different tools to pre-record your presentation. Zoom is one of the easier tools, especially if you're recording by yourself, because you can screen share your materials, whether it's a PowerPoint or other presentation materials, and you have the video thumbnail in the corner. So while people are listening and absorbing your material, they can also engage with you and see your face, put a face with the name. The other option is to record. If you're using a PowerPoint, you can record audio over your slides. This is another option. The one drawback is there's no video thumbnail visible. So we're going to review that more in the pre-recorded presentations. There's a few options. And yes, the materials will all be due at the end of February. So we're going to have our pre-recorded presentation training at the beginning of February. And about 2 weeks in, the middle of February, you're going to be receiving a link to upload to a secure Dropbox file. This is where you'll drop any of your pre-recorded presentation materials, transcripts, any additional outlines you want us to upload, and then we will upload those into the meeting space. Our goal is to have the meeting open and available for both attendees and presenters to start getting familiar with about 2 weeks prior to the meeting, which would be the second week of March. So we'll have more details to follow.
Where are the recorded trainings assessed? Yeah.
Yeah, so the plan is, and I'm going to trust someone from the office to correct me if I'm wrong, but the plan is to post those on the website shortly after we do them.
Yes, we will have them on the annual meeting page on the website. We start uploading them the same day, if not the next day that they were recorded. The first webinar is already on the website, but as soon as we get them downloaded, we will upload them to the website, and you can access them through the annual meeting page on our website.
For the pre-recorded presentation, what steps will we need to take to make sure our presentations are accessible, just as a general outline?
Yeah, so some of the general best practices we're recommending are that when presenters record their sessions, they take steps to either use captioning or transcripts, and we're going to be providing a guide to make that happen pretty easily for you. There's a lot of AI software that will make a good, somewhat but not completely accurate first pass at that, and then all you'd have to do is clean it up afterwards. And then some other steps you could take for a pre-recorded presentation would be providing a visual description of yourself, of any images on your slide, of trying to watch your speaking pace, and then providing, yeah, I guess really that's pretty much mostly it. You could offer some handouts or definitions of particularly challenging terms. And yeah, if everyone does that, we'll be able to make the meeting a lot more accessible for all of our attendees.
If we have a workshop, will there still be a meetup room afterward?
So workshops will not have a meetup room because they will be conducted as Zoom meetings. For workshops, you need a little bit more of that back and forth. So there's going to be ability to have that live discussion and that live back and forth in the Zoom meeting. So workshops will just be conducted in one Zoom meeting room.
Okay, Microsoft PowerPoint does allow for video thumbnails. At least when I've used it, you can record video thumbnails for each slide using the record feature.
That's good to know. I have not seen that yet. So if someone would be willing to share that information with me, I will drop my contact information in the Zoom webinar chat. So thank you.
For the pre-recorded presentations, how much time is allotted from start to finish?
So pre-recorded presentations are allotted the same as live stream. It's 105 minutes.
Okay, we're down to the last two, at least right now. Want clarity on language? Is a live stream presentation the same as webinar?
Sorry, that's my question. So not quite. So most of the live stream presentations will be conducted as a webinar. The few exceptions are going to be workshops, open discussions, and roundtables. So in the live stream presentation training, we're going to review both webinar formats and meeting formats.
Okay. I see that I'm one paper in a series of 5 papers. It will be Channel 5 live simulcast. Will that be a Zoom meeting format or will it be a webinar format?
I believe it would be a webinar format, but I would need to see the specific session. If it's listed as a roundtable or an open discussion, it'll be a meeting. Same with workshops. Otherwise, just go on the assumption that your meeting is going to be a Zoom webinar.
Okay. This is a question about live stream. How do we provide captioning? I understand that we can provide audio description of our photos/slides, but captioning of our oral presentations.
Yes. So all of the live stream presentations, both webinar and meeting, will be sponsored or hosted through the SFAA's Zoom licenses. We have currently purchased the Otter AI captioning software, which is what's being used in this meeting. So moderators in each session will make sure that's enabled properly, and people will automatically be able to see the captions on the bottom or the transcript if they so choose.
And someone made a comment that PowerPoint does allow for video thumbnail recording on PC. However, when they use it on a Mac, so it may be Mac or Windows accessibility, the version doesn't have that functionality on Mac is what they're saying.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The next question is for pre-recorded paper presenters. Should we plan our papers for 15 minutes each or 20 minutes, or does each panel figure it out on their own? I don't know the other people on the panel. We are dispersed.
We will be sending out emails to everyone in your panel and introducing you to the chair of your panel. That will be discussed amongst you all, and the chair will allot however much time you are needed. If there's 4 papers, then you'll have more time than if there's 5. But again, that will be discussed amongst yourselves, and then that will be decided there. I will be getting those out this week.
Thank you, Trish. If we have submitted as a group/institution, will all our sessions be on the same channel?
I think in scheduling, Melissa and Mark tried to put, as usual, the TIGs in different channels on same channels and on following particular days. So I think you need to look at the program to see if your sessions are linked. If there were some special instructions, we would have tried to do that.
Okay. This one says, I guess the business meetings of the TIGs will happen in Zoom meeting format, like workshop and open discussion sessions.
Yes, that's correct. So we're still working out a process for where those are going to be situated within Whova. That should be solidified within the next week or two, and that will be discussed at our live stream presentation training as well.
Okay.
That was, oh, okay. Would there be any way for someone never registered for the conference be able to later go into the system and access a roundtable, live presentation, or pre-recorded session, say in May? Could they go in and download the attachments, slide transcripts, etc.?
Yes, the answer is no. The only people who will have access to Whova are those who have registered and presenters. So someone who's not registered or doesn't have access to Whova won't be able to access it. And we're going to review attendee etiquette. Don't share links that you're accessing within Whova outside of Whova, things of that nature. So we're doing our best to create a secure meeting space, especially with regard to presenter rights on material. So no is the answer.
Okay. The next question is, if we present, but a question would be better answered by a co-author who is not presenting, is it possible for them to take over an answer?
Yeah, so that's really going to depend on if the co-author is in the session. If the co-author is attending the meeting and is watching your session live, there is the option in Zoom, and the moderator in your session would be able to help with this, to promote a co-author to a panelist to answer a specific question. If the co-author is, on the other hand, not registered for the meeting and is not otherwise attending the conference, then no, we are really asking people to please not share any of these links outside of Whova. And again, that's for security issues and to keep everything running smoothly. So in that case, please don't email the link to a co-author and be like, hey, can you pop into my session for 5 minutes and take this question? That would probably be a case where if it's a question that should get to your co-author, maybe please just share their email and have whoever asked that question follow up with them afterwards.
Okay. The next question is, what is the difference between Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting in terms of functionality?
This is a great question. So what we're currently on is a Zoom webinar. The main difference is the only people who have audio and video are the presenters and the panelists. So those people who, when we created the meeting, designated them as such. All of the attendees have their audio and video disabled. The two main ways, or I guess the three main ways they can engage back with the presenters is through chat, question and answer, and some of the hand raising, thumbs up, thumbs down emoji indicators. So it's limited back and forth between presenters and attendees. However, the security goes up, less Zoom bombing issues, less tech issues. A Zoom meeting is probably what most of us are familiar with. Everyone's camera and audio are able to be turned on and off at their own will for the most part. We can incorporate some additional security measures where the moderators are the ones who turn on audio and video. So those are really the two main differences between, or the few main differences between the meetings and the webinars.
Okay, thank you. We have no more open questions.
Okay. I want to thank Kira and Janelle and Rebecca, Eli, Trish, and everyone for answering questions, and for all of you for your questions. If you have questions, get in touch with us. Maybe while I'm talking, we can put back on the schedule for the upcoming training for pre-record, well, just the table, and you can see it. We think, at the beginning I said, I think we're poised for a good meeting. What makes us nervous is making sure that our members are able to prepare their materials well and upload them and can use Whova. So we're spending a lot of time and effort, and we're willing to do whatever's required to help you prepare for the meeting. So thank you for coming today. Please consider attending some of these meetings in order to really make sure that you're understanding and able to participate in the conference. Please tell others as well that if they haven't been to one of the meetings, then come to the future training meetings or review the webinar, today's webinars, recording, etc. So I think if we work together and everyone spends a little bit of extra time getting ready, and I know it's a big change for us to be ready with pre-recorded materials by the end of February. But I know we can all do this, and I know we can have a successful meeting, and we appreciate all your effort. And so if there are no more questions, then anyone on the team have anything additional to add? They're shaking their heads no. Okay, great. Well, let us know your questions. We hope to see you in the next webinar training. And okay, stay safe. Take care. Bye.